Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam. In today's video, I am obviously coming at you super casual. I'm just in my car because I have been meaning to put out this video where I'm just kind of talking to you guys about how I sell on Instagram, how I resell vintage goods on Instagram specifically, and everything that entails. But as a mom, I have found it really hard to find a time where it's just like super quiet and I can talk to you guys. So there's a fly in here. So Frank is asleep in the car and I am just gonna talk to you guys as if we're just friends and hanging out, and I'll just give you some advice and tell you what I do. So this is not like a super professional video, obviously, like, anyway. But yeah, I just really wanted to get this out there because I've gotten a lot of questions on Instagram and here on YouTube and all over, really, asking if I have any tips about reselling and how I resell on Instagram and all of that. So let's just get right into it. I want to give a little background about where I've started. My whole reselling journey started in like 2020, 2021. I created an Instagram account for a little business I had called Thrift Kid, where I curated a little monthly surprise clothing box for children of thrift clothing. So it was so fun and more of like a little passion of mine, and it did not make a lot of money. It might do well now with the following that I have now, but it's just not really like a passion of mine anymore. More into home decor than children's clothing. At the time I was pregnant, and then I had my youngest son, so I was just really into like children's clothes and baby clothes. So it's not really something I'm interested in now. But anyway, so I started an Instagram account for that business and grew it to like 300-400 people, literally just people that I knew, and then some new people. Some people who follow me now on my Instagram are from my Thrift Kid days, which is so cool. I quickly kind of got rid of Thrift Kid. I think it was like a year or so, and I was just not making money, so I moved on. But when I had that little business, I actually had a website, and it was like 4 subscription boxes, and so they did all of my shipping information and all of that for me. I still mailed stuff out personally myself, but like it was more streamlined there. Now I currently just sell on Instagram with no like third party. Like I don't like have a link to Shopify or a link to Etsy or anything like that. So speaking of Etsy, I also had an Etsy shop for a really long time, really long time, like 4 years or so. And I loved it. I honestly loved selling on Etsy. And then all of a sudden they closed my shop. It just said like my shop was suspended and like closed indefinitely. And they did not give a reason why. They gave like a list of like 6 reasons why it could be, all completely random, not related to each other, and none of them applied to me. And when I responded to them, like I filed a ticket, I filed multiple, and when they got back to me, they said they couldn't tell me why, and they would not be reinstating my account. Like I did an appeal and they said no, like I could never have another account, but also no explanation why. And then also they didn't give me money from sales I had just previously made for like 6 to 8 months. So I would be leery to sell on Etsy if I were you. I even tried again to create a new shop with a different email, and they suspended that one as well. So I really don't know what happened, and I never got any explanation and no warning, no like you need to fix this or we're going to close your shop. Nothing, just closed. At that time I had been reselling. I started as Blueberry Vintage Company, and I had been reselling vintage goods on Etsy and on Instagram. And so then I just fully switched over to Instagram, and then I kind of pulled away from reselling for a while, and now I'm back full time. So that is like my history, and I honestly really like selling on Instagram. There are a lot of perks, like there's no third party, so I'm not giving a cut of my money and my sales to anyone. I also can handle everything myself, and I get my sales by growing my account, and so I can like get my own very niched down kind of like audience and customers that way. So I do really like having and selling on Instagram. The things that I don't necessarily love are perhaps like the shipping process and taking the payment. Like, I don't love the customer service part of it where I'm responsible for getting payment, and on like Etsy or Shopify, the customer puts their credit card information in, and the shipping total is calculated for them, and then you just print the label. So I, selling on Instagram, get people's personal shipping information, their name and their address, and then I will also send them my Venmo. So I accept Venmo, sometimes PayPal. I don't really love accepting PayPal because they take out a fee, like a service fee, where Venmo doesn't. So I really recommend using Venmo if you're gonna resell on Instagram, but some people don't have Venmo, and I will make exceptions, but I just don't love PayPal. But so what I do, like the whole process, like I post what I have for sale on my feed, and you can, one of my biggest suggestions is to follow other resellers on Instagram and kind of see how they have their accounts set up. That was like the biggest thing for me that helped me. And then you can kind of take bits and pieces and make your own and what you prefer. You'll figure it out after you made a few sales. You're like, whoa, I need to set some rules here, because that does happen where you, like, after, you know, a few sales, you realize you need to get some rules in place. So I would suggest following some resellers. You can follow me, Blueberry Vintage Co., and kind of see my shop rules and things like that, which are sometimes ever changing. But I would just get a grasp on like what other resellers do and just kind of model after that, and then put your own spin on it. We all pretty much do very similar things. So I post on my feed, like my grid, individual items. I was doing collections and flat lay Fridays, and I might still do that here and there, but for me and for my customers, it was just like a lot, because I sell so much. For me, it was a lot to try to create a curated sale several times a week. Like, I like to just be able to post an individual item as I source it, and then it's just kind of like literally a store, you know what I mean? Or like an Etsy shop. So it's just each item. And so I'll post an item, and then in the comments, they will comment sold. And then once they have, I will direct message them and get their shipping info. And so here is where I'm sure other resellers might cringe, but I don't like measure and weigh the shipping box and then get their shipping total, which I really should. You probably should do that. But I, with my ADHD brain, I can't take someone's payment and then like a week later get their shipping info or get their shipping total to them. I like to get it all at once because I just like to get it out of the way. And so I already have measured the items, so I know how big the item's going to be, so I kind of estimate how big the box is going to be, and then about how much it's going to weigh. I have a scale, which you should get. You can get them right on Amazon, but I don't use it a lot, and I'm just kind of vibing, and this is why this is a very relaxed video. Like, I am just not the most like professional reseller out. Editing me here, I just wanted to clarify one thing about the shipping. I always err on the side of the customer. Like, I will like estimate down so that shipping is like less, and then I'll eat the cost if it's not measured correctly. So that's why I'm suggesting that you do measure correctly. But I just wanted to clarify that so that if you are a customer of mine, you're not like, wow, she's just ripping me off. Here we go. So anyway, they're like, I'm just not super type A like that, and so far it's really worked out. Like, so for example, sorry this video is all over the place, but for example, if I were to ship something out and I said it weighed 5 pounds, but it really weighed like 6 pounds, I will get the difference billed to me, which I'm like, whatever. But that doesn't really happen that often. Most of the time I'm right. So once you've done it for a while, you might be able to guesstimate. But Anyway, so let me get back to what I was saying. So on my feed, I will post that and then I'll direct message them and I will get the shipping information. And so then I will go to a website called Pirate Ship, which you should look into. So they get you discounted rates for shipping. So you'll take the customer's information, type it into Pirate Ship, and the thing I love about Pirate Ship is if you have repeat customers, it'll save it. So it'll save their name in your Pirate Ship account. It's a private account, so like nobody can get people's addresses on there. And say somebody orders from you a lot, like I'll just type their first name in and it'll just like auto fill in their information for me. So I really like that about Pirate Ship, so I don't have to like keep typing in everyone's full info every time. But I'll take their information, go to Pirate Ship, put in their shipping information. You just put the measurements of the item and the approximate weight, and then you like generate their shipping label. And before I buy it, I just like forget what the word is. It might just be generate or get prices or whatever, but you click that first button. It's very, very, very user friendly, like super easy to figure out. So you generate the first slip, so you get their packing slip, and I always just screenshot and I send it to them in their direct message and say, does this look correct? Because you don't want to mess up their address, and sometimes they'll be like, oops, you forgot, my apartment number or my last name spelled wrong, and then I can go back and fix it. It's super easy. You can always go back on Pirate Ship, press previous step, and once they say it's all set, I tell them the price of their item that they're getting, or items if they're getting more than one, plus the shipping total, and then I always add a $3 handling fee. I've learned over the years that I need to charge that because packing materials are expensive. I'll talk about packing materials in a second, but I try to get all my boxes secondhand, but I still pay for tape and bubble wrap and my time. So I charge $3 per item to cover those costs. And so then I give them their total, and then I send them my Venmo little QR code, which you just go to your Venmo account and you can click share Venmo or whatever, and they Venmo me, and then I mark the item as sold in the description on Instagram. So for packing materials, like I said, I reuse boxes. So I have a few friends that save boxes for me, like from just their like Amazon packages. You can literally use any box, like UPS does not care. So I will get boxes from friends, or I just discovered a store in my town who is allowing me to take their boxes. They get shipments like 2 days a week, and they have just a cardboard like trash bin, but it's just for cardboard, and they said I can just go grab cardboard whenever I want. So that has been amazing because they have really good boxes. Once you resell, you'll be like, that's a good box, when they're like super sturdy. For bubble wrap, I always get mine at Target, same as my tape. I have shopped around a bit, and seems to be the most easily accessible to me, like convenience wise and price effective or cost effective. But I'm sure you could do some more research on like where to get bubble wrap and tape. But I try to reuse as much as possible, just to like be eco-friendly. I reuse any packing material that is in a used box. I use brown paper bags from the grocery store. I'll use newspapers. I don't like to wrap things in newspaper because of the black stuff, the ink. So I'll usually use bubble wrap and then like stuff a box full of newspaper. I could literally do a whole video just on packing, but so I won't keep talking about that. But anyway, so that's what I use. I use Pirate Ship for shipping. I use Venmo for payment. And you might wonder about taxes, and so do I, because this is the first year that I'm making a substantial amount of money where I'll actually need to do taxes. So I can talk all about that once I've actually filed them, because I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I will let you know once I do. And what else do I want to talk about? I wonder what other people like want to know. I probably should have done like a question box, but growing your Instagram, like to find people to buy from you, that was something that I did in the very beginning, and then now I have a separate reselling account from my personal account. So my reselling account, my original one, has turned into my personal account, my big Sam Holly account. And then now I have my own Blueberry Vintage account just for reselling so that it wasn't like confusing. But how I grew initially is just making reels about thrifting and using a trending audio within Instagram. And right now Instagram is really favoring small creators, so really focus on creating reels using a trending sound. A trending sound has the little up arrow next to it, and just really try to be consistent, posting like once a day, or at least several times a week. Try to grow from there. Try to make it very specific to the type of goods that you sell. So my account, I sell mostly cottagecore style stuff, and yeah, so just try to grow your account, and that will be your like customer base basically. Another suggestion that I have is to, like I said before, look at other resellers pages, but also follow them, interact with them, try to build a little community, because the reseller community is so nice, especially if you look in like your niche. You can really like make friends that way. I've made so many friends doing this, and everyone is so supportive, and people will share your stuff and you can share their stuff, and you just all support each other. Sometimes I buy from them because like we all like the same stuff, and they might buy from you, and so it's just a really good way to grow, is to follow and interact with other resellers in your like niche. Like I don't really follow a lot of like 70s mid-century people. Some I do love some mid-century people, but you know what I mean. I mostly follow like other people who resell similar things to me, and then we all can share each other's stuff and communicate with each other, and it just really builds like a nice community. I wish I knew more people in real life that resell around me that are like similar style and like go thrifting with them. But so if you're in the area and you resell, let me know. I'm trying to think of what else people want to know. Okay, so pricing. How do you price? So if you don't have Google Lens on your phone, you need to get that. So I'm at a thrift store using Google Lens all the time. You have to be leery because sometimes you'll see something and it's like listed on Etsy or eBay and it's super expensive, and you're like, ooh, I got a good piece, but like not everyone's gonna pay that. You have to think about your market. Like Etsy, you might be able to price things higher because people are searching for those specific things on Etsy. But if you're reselling on Instagram, you know, price more fairly. And I use Google Lens as kind of a tool to be able to help me figure out exactly what the piece is if I don't know what it is, and to get an idea of how much it's worth, and just kind of go with your gut. Like if you feel like that's really high, then it's probably too high, honestly. So I try to price, if I go to Google Lens and I see like 4 or 5 things, I'll try to price like somewhere in the middle of all those prices, or like $5 less than like the prices, just because sometimes online things are listed higher, or sometimes online people list things shipping included, so that's why the price is higher. So you just want to really do good research. But Google Lens is like the most helpful thing ever to figure out what your piece is and how much it's worth. So I would highly suggest doing that. And same thing with following other resellers. A lot of times we're all selling the same kind of stuff, and somebody might have already sold like a Butterbell crock. Somebody might have just sold one. You can kind of see, oh, what did they price it at? You know what I mean? So just like, that's how I price. And then now that I've sold, I pretty much sell the same types of things all the time: baskets, peg racks, pottery, things like that. So I kind of just know now, like that's what I'm going to price it at. So and then I can also tell once I've had something up for a really long time and nobody's bought it, I'm like, okay, maybe I priced that too high. So anyway, highly suggest Google Lens. And then I always try to get at least double what I paid for something back. So say at Goodwill I got a platter for $6. I'm probably gonna try to sell it for $15 to $20, just because you really want to like make sure that you're getting your money's worth, because it's a lot to clean an item, you know, list it and measure it and research about it and then store it in your house and then mail it. It's like, it's not just like what the item's worth, it's also your time. and maybe how rare it is, or how hard it is to find it, or how popular it is. If somebody, so peg racks, for example, like the accordion style ones, people love those. And so I used to sell them like 15 bucks, but now that I know people really like them, I mean, on Etsy, they can be like 30, 40 bucks. So I've been pricing mine more like 20, 25, because I know that people really want them, and they are hard to find unless you're in like New England. For some reason, apparently they're not like all over the place. I didn't even know that. But just pricing things, kind of like demand. But also don't get too crazy with your prices, because then nobody's gonna want to shop for you. Like, there were some resellers that I love, and they always find the best stuff, but I've just like stopped really like waiting for their collections to come out, because I'm like, well, I cannot afford that. So, because then you also have to think about the shipping, and you have to think about that for your customer too. Like, okay, I'm gonna price this thing at 20 bucks, but then they're also gonna have to pay like 8 bucks for shipping and handling. So just trying to be fair, you know what I mean? And you can do whatever you want. You can price something with shipping included if you want to do that, whatever you want to do. And then to keep track of your sales, I'm going to link down below. I created this PDF. It's called my reselling organizer. I just created this pretty simple, but I find it very, very helpful organization system. It's just a PDF, so you can print it and then keep printing it. Like, once you've bought it, it's yours. It's $3, and then you can just keep on printing it. So it has what's it called, inventory pages. I have like a schedule page, like a weekly planner kind of page, so you can schedule your drops. And then I have just a bunch of notes pages. So if you need something to organize, because I had a hard time finding like a reselling organizer, it's down in the description. I'll have it linked. So that's how I organize that. And like I said, I don't really do collections anymore. I just kind of post whenever. So you can literally do whatever you want. That's the fun part of it too, is that you are in charge. There's really no rules. And yes, it's legal to sell on Instagram. So many people do it. But yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking about what other questions you guys might have. So please, please comment down below, and I will answer as many questions as I can. I can also make a follow-up video, and yeah, let me know if this was helpful at all, because I'm having a hard time thinking of something else to say, because I'm like, I think I covered it all. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.